Hey guys, what's going on? So today I actually did a project last night with my Taurus G2C and the 9mm variant. As you know, that's my carry gun, and as you know, I have two of them, the 40 cal, which we see here, and the 9mm, which is currently in progress with the project I was discussing. And that being said, what I did to it, as you know, from carrying it and stuff, the finish on it basically just was wearing off, and there was plain metal, and I didn't want it to rust or anything. So I was looking online and I came across this brownells alumahyde 2. This does come in different colors. Obviously, as you can see, I've got the matte black variant. It comes in all different types of camos and colors. You can get whatever you prefer. I opted for the standard factory finish. And this is an epoxy type paint, and it's supposed to be super tough and long lasting, and we'll find out. My Taurus G2C 9mm is actually in the oven right now curing. I did a coat last night, and then I did a second coat this morning, and it has to bake in the oven on 195, 200 degrees for 3.5 to 4 hours. I did it 200 degrees for 4 hours. So that's where that pistol is at, and why you see the components of it there. But this is the product we're going to discuss, and we're going to take a look at all the things you need to actually do this, and then I'll show you how to disassemble the firearm to get it to the point where you'd be ready for this brownells alumahyde. So we'll set this aside for a minute. So some of the things that you will need, the first one, maybe not necessarily, obviously you'll need the brownells alumahyde. I'd highly recommend some nice heavy duty latex gloves, or whatever you call them, vinyl, latex, whatever you're not allergic to. These are 7mm. They were like 10 bucks at Harbor Freight. So definitely get you some of them. You will need a hammer for disassembling. You will need some pin punches, as you can see here. You will also notice with these punches, these are also Harbor Freight punches. And as you can see, the looks like a limp dick right there. Don't buy these. I actually just ordered a set of Scarrett steel punches, and they should be here Tuesday or Wednesday. These are alright, but don't waste your money. But you will need some punches. Specifically, the two you will need is going to be the looks like 1/16 and 3/32. That's the only two you'll need, but generally they come in a set. You will also need some sandpaper. That being said, or you can use sandblasting if you have that available to you. I did not, so I opted for the wet dry sandpaper. Again, Harbor Freight. It was like 4 bucks, and this is a variety pack. You get your 220 grit, which is that right there. Pretty aggressive. It will take the finish off fast. Then you opt for your 500 grit, 1000 grit, and then you finish it off with a 1200 grit. And the reason you do that is you take the finish off with the 250 grit, the majority, then you get smooth out some of the scratches that you've created with the 220, with the 500, and so on and so forth. Each step up you take in sandpaper. That way when you are finished, it's a smooth finish, but the majority of everything you need to have removed is off. So that you'll need to get off as well. You also need some type of rotary tool. I picked this one up, I want to say it was at Harbor Freight or something, or it could have been at like a Lidl's or something. I just grabbed it for it was $8.99 on a super sale or something, and I've used it a few times, and you know what, if it broke tomorrow, I've got my $8 out of it. So pretty pleased with that. Anyways, it came with that, some cutting wheels and some grinding stuff. And I just picked up this cleaning, polishing Dremel kit, and it has everything else you'll need in there. And it does have some finishing polishing compound. I would also recommend you getting some polishing compound gray. It's a little heavier duty, but that's all you really need as far as tools go for the product, other than a T8 you will need to get the front sight off of the Taurus. So that being said, to take this pistol down, it's fairly simple. All you'll need to do is, obviously it's unloaded, pull it back like you do a Glock. Get your fingers on it first of all. And go ahead and set your frame to the side. You do not need it. Go ahead and pop out your recoil spring. Slide out your barrel. And what you're left with is your basic slide. Obviously, you would want to remove your sights when you're doing that. Being that this one is not actually getting painted, I don't see a need to remove them. But basically, with a small flathead screwdriver, you would just unscrew that screw right there, and this sight slides off. And with the front sight, you would just go in there with your T8, and you would remove it. I don't know if you can see in there, but that's what you would be removing up in there in your front sight. Simple enough. I'm not going to show that because I figure anybody can do that. With your punches, what you want to do is you have this pin right in here, and I'll pull it up close right there, and as you can see, it's sticking out right there on the side. And sorry if I took you out of frame there for a minute. You take your 1/16 punch, which is the limp one, and you want to slide it into this hole right here in the slide, and slide it in like so. And then you'll take your hammer and you'll beat it out, and this pin will slide out toward the extractor side, and that'll allow you to remove your loaded chamber indicator and the spring, which, I mean, I guess you don't have to do it. I opted to do it. I wanted to get a good paint all through there, and set that to the side. Just be cognizant there is a spring in there. And then to remove your extractor, if you look down here, you can see this little pin right there inside where I'm pointing. And basically what you need to do is you want to push down on it. You're gonna need another punch here. You would push down on this, probably need the hammer, but you just want to pop that down like so. And all that does, when you pop that down like that, that pin has a little spring up under it, and I can show you from the 9mm variant. This is the actual pin, and as you can see, this part here actually holds that extractor in. So when you slide that out, we'll just go ahead and take it out. When you slide that out, first of all, keep your thing on it because it is under spring pressure. And then you'll have your extractor right there. And there's another little spring right there. Don't lose that. And that comes out. And then you can just tip it over, and you have your, what it's called, but you have that, and this is your pin again. And what that does is it actually, when you push down on it, it's actually pushing up inside this extractor right there and actually holding it in the firearm, and then that other spring keeps it tight. So you just want to remove those. And obviously you can pop out your firing pin real quick. You just push down on this little sleeve, slide your, then release the firing pin, which is like so. And at that point, the minus the sights, I didn't take them off because I don't want to resight it, and I didn't want to pop that out. Yeah, I just didn't see a need to. You just take this and pop it out. But once you get to that point, you have a bare slide, and at that point you would actually be ready to start your finishing process or refinishing process. That involves, one, I use brake cleaner. Brake cleaner is great at getting rid of all grease, and it's highly evaporative, so it does not sit on there. There's no residue, there's no nothing, and it works really, really well. So once you get to that point and you get all that off, your slide is then prepped as far as being clean and oil and grease free. Then you would use you'd start with your 220, and you give it some rub like that, and as you can see, that little bit there, it comes off too. And I'll just sand just a little bit right there. All right, so you can see the difference in the finish just from taking that 220. Just a couple of passes, right? Okay. Then you would take your 500. All right. Then you've got your 500. Give that just a little, couple more there. All right, there's your 500. Then you would take your 1000. Like so. And this is just a example. You would obviously want to spend a little more time right there, but there you go. Now you've got that off, and then you would take your 1200 like so. And as you can see, the difference from Taurus's stainless steel to just that little piece right there, the difference in the polishing. And that's why you pay a lot of money for polished guns, because it takes a lot of time to polish. I mean, that's just a quick 1 minute deal there to get that off, but to finish that slide like that all over, I mean, that's a lot of work for somebody. Probably got a couple hours into doing just the scene finishes. So that's what you're looking at there. So then at that point there, you would take your alumahyde, after it's all cleaned up and everything, obviously, and you would spray it. Shake it for a solid 2 minutes, no doubt. You got to shake this. At that point, take it outside and spray it. Spray any of the top part you want. Wait about 15 minutes. Flip it over. Spray the bottom part. And at that point, you're ready to put it in the oven. The can says 195 degrees for 3.5 hours. I found better results at 200 degrees for 4. So that's what I would recommend in my oven. Every oven is different. So if you're interested in refinishing your slide, this can cost you about 25 bucks. You could get several, I mean, if you did two good coats on this can, you would easily get, you could easily do, you know, 5 or 6 pistols easy, and probably 3 rifles. So definitely, you know, easy money to refinish something, and it holds up. And I'll take you guys over here real quick and show you what we're looking at. And see, I've got about 2 hours left on the clock, and she's just in there baking, and that's where she'll be. So when that's all finished, we'll let you know what the end results are, and hopefully this helps somebody out and you're able to use this information fairly good. So click the like button, please subscribe and share the video.